Oh, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah, no, I try to have good afternoons. Try to have good mornings too. You already know who it is. Target individual CJBK, aka Chris James. You all know that I get the V2K. I get synthetic telepathy, and not only is it one or two people, but it's four. And not only is it just men, but it's two men and two women. So it's even. It's all even, which is strange. They gave me four people, two men and two women, right? Then, aside from that, I'm actually starting to learn their target points, or their starting to learn and understand how whoever their superiors were, how they were chose to actually harass me. Because you know what? Let's just be real with it. Like, those of you TIs who may be black, or of a Spanish speaking country, Latina, Hispanic. I don't know, some people don't like certain terms, so I just say people from Spanish speaking countries. I grew up in neighborhoods where, basically the only two things that most people respect is violence and money. That's people, majority respect you if you have money, or they respect you if you're a violent person. The power to spend and the power to harm. The power to spend and the power to cause harm. Those are two. They are respectable things, because you should always respect something that can harm you, and you should always respect money, right? Well, don't put too much faith in money. I'll say that. Don't put too much faith in money. Yes, you respect money, but don't put too much faith into money. Do not praise money. Do not worship money. And do not do anything for money. Especially since, the value of certain currencies are going up and down all the time. Hell, I've been hearing that the US dollar is just going down. But anyway, like I grew up in the hood. It's probably no different from when black people say we grew up in the hood, it's really not to be too confused with anything different than if, like, let's say when let's say white folks say something like, I grew up in a trailer park, or I grew up in, like down south, they say I grew up in, Fifth Ward or something like that. Or I don't know what Asians would call, like, their neighborhoods where it seems like there's a lot of violence and stuff. Universal word would be ghetto. I grew up in the ghetto, But so what they tend to do, right, is they're using as a scaring point for me, they're using I can't even say gang violence, because not everybody who's, in the, let's call it the underworld, or in the streets, are in the gang. There's some people out there that's just in the streets, right? So right now they're like, the whole streets is watching you. You're not trying to protect your mother. He don't have no respect for women. He's trying to, like all these different things. They're trying to like induce so much fear into me, because to them, all I had to do was become a police officer. And the more I understand how invasive this technology really is, and just how much this technology can change about a person, even without them knowing, it makes me wonder now, like, because if you can basically download information into somebody's brain, probably place it so deep within the memory that you know, they themselves can't necessarily pull it up consciously, but their subconscious, you know, knows that information is there. And then maybe there's certain things like triggers or something that, you know, has to be done in order to activate the neural network for those memories. So I just be wondering to myself, like, when they say all I had to do was become a police officer, and I mean, they were pushing so hard for me to become a police officer. That's all they kept saying. They was like, I remember after the first time I went to a hospital to try to get some help, which did not happen. It only just helped. I mean, I did get some help, but not the type of help I was looking for. Because the help I got was confirmation. I got confirmation that a good majority of many different professionals in this world got there through some very shady and malicious ways. Now, I'm not gonna sit here. Well, I said sit here. I'm not gonna ride here and say that, I'm not going to ride over here and say that, I am not afraid of being killed. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not afraid of being killed. Because who isn't? Nobody wants to be killed, let alone nobody wants to die, right? But when you are, I mean, good thing for me, like I have been leaning more heavily on God more than ever, because with this type of system that they have in place, this type of system is meant to basically drive you into doing things that you wouldn't even do yourself, and not healthy things. They'll try to they're rewarding people who are obedient and do what they're told. They're rewarding them. But then I always tend to think outside the box, and I like to think about every possible situation that I can think of. I don't know. I've been told that I'm a very analytical thinker, right? Analytical thinker, and when I want to be, I could be hyper-focused on things, and then I can actually become very, very observant of things. And one thing I should say is that I knew from jump right away, no ifs, ands, or buts. Didn't take me too long to understand anything, but I knew the moment I was hearing sounds in my mind that were not created by my mind alone, I knew something was up. And I knew when they did that first dream manipulation of one of the perps, and he was actually in my dream, and he had this dark, black, hazy, vibrating aura around him. And the energy that came off of him was just so dark. It was just like, oh, I'm like, who are he looking at? But anyway, yeah, the energy was just so dark, right? Then and there, I knew I was dealing with not only a person, but I was dealing with a spirit ruling over that person. Now, I'm also going to say this too. I've always believed in a heaven and hell. I always believed in God. I always believed in temptations. I always believed in, you know, sin and karma and things of that sort. I always believed in all those things, right? Now, I'm going to just say this, right? I'm going to say this. When I found out about this technology, right? When I found out about what this technology is capable of, and then I started to understand what parts of the body this technology was really trying to control, and I'm like, yo, this technology is pure, like. I mean, they say that, you know, a tool is simply a tool, right? It's the intent behind why you're using that tool is what makes something what it is, you know, or gives something. I can't even really try to understand. I can't find the right words, but it's like, I don't know. Like, you got, let's just say this. You got people who are like good, decent beings, good, decent human beings that own guns, but they would never flash the gun. They would never try to use it to intimidate someone. Why? Because they probably respect guns, but they also not only respect guns, but they also respect life. And then you got people who would basically have a gun just so that they can intimidate someone, or to, hell, just kill people, or just cause destruction, really. This technology that they're using could be so beneficial for billions of people, but instead, it's been weaponized. I'll be back. All right, so, funny thing, right? Just as I turned stop the video, right? I go to, swipe out, right? To clock out and whatnot. I use the app. I'm using the Amazon app, right? So I go to turn off, swipe out or log off from the app. And I keep getting this message saying, connect to a wireless network or a Wi-Fi network. And I'm like, I have T-Mobile. I'm seeing like four or five solid signal bars, right? So I'm thinking to myself, like, I know what it is, because it's like they have my phone hacked, and because they have my phone hacked, they're also intercepting whatever communications that I have between, how you doing? All right. That was cool. Anyway, what else? Where was I? Right. So, even though my phone is showing T-Mobile, 4 solid signal strength bars, I'm trying to use the Amazon app, and then all of a sudden it's just like saying, you have no connection. No connection. Connect to a network. Connect to a network. The manager, he's like, Chris, you still have a stop open? I'm like, no, I don't. And I'm like, because I literally just, I knew, because I swiped to finish on my stop. But it's always this one thing that's always like still on. And I know they did something. I know they're always doing something with either the Amazon app itself or the internet. So what it was, it's always like this tab or something, and on the app it shows it like it's a delivery stop, like that's an address I still have to go to, but it's not. So it's basically like they inserted, like they changed the the code is something inside the Amazon Fresh app so that they can probably, you know, do whatever kind of manipulations that they want. But she's pretty. Then so I'm like, okay. He's like, don't worry about it. And I'm like, cool. I told him have a nice vacation. You know, keep it moving. Right? Now, besides all that, I do my best not to allow myself to be too caught up in the electronic harassment stuff, because at the end of the day, that's beyond my control. I'm not putting forth the energy needed to try to become a cyber security expert and all that. I'm just trying to live. That's all I'm just trying to, like, I mean, I'd like to get back into hospitality again, but as a TI that's also getting V2K, I tried to go back to working in the food industry, and that's a little bit more difficult, because especially when you got to do things very carefully, you're holding hot food, you know, and you're moving fast. You got the V2K. Then, you know, if I'm like trying to bend over slightly and I'm trying to, like, you know, contract my core so I don't like drop anything, the next thing you know, they're gonna send a frequency into like my back or something. Next thing you know, I feel a pain and I move wrong. Next thing you know, I'm dropping something on somebody. So I'm like, TI, it's so tough for us. That's why I'm like, I'm grateful that they actually allowed me to get this job, because I've heard some stories. Oh man, I've heard some stories, some horror stories about, you know, some people not being able to, you know, keep their job, or some people basically being, you know, gang stalked out of their job. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I'm just trying to find a way to make a living. I'm not a felon. Nothing against felons, but I'm not a felon. I'm not, you know, I'm not violent. I've always had good rapport with people, no matter where or what, you know. Except for this one place, you know. Found out that a lot of them was, you know, kind of talking behind my back about things. Actually, you know what? The more interesting thing was I took that job shortly before my targeting started. Yeah. So I'm not even gonna lie. Like before I think when let me see. I don't know. That's a whole nother story. Anyway, so yeah, I'm trying something else out too. Hold on. I'm trying something else out. So here's something I noticed. The pineal gland is responsible for so many things in the body, so many systems, because it releases a hormone that is very necessary for maintaining several different functions within the body, right? Including your emotional state, psychological, you know, things of that sort, including, you know, blood glucose levels, endocrine system, there we go. Endocrine system, nervous system, like the pineal gland is home to serotonin, right? Or is it melatonin? I think it's melatonin. It might be serotonin, melatonin, one of the two. It might actually be both. And it has photoreceptors. In it, right? Even though it's this small pea-sized thing that's in the center of your brain, it has photoreceptors, right? Now, to the average person who probably don't know much about the pineal gland or the importance of the pineal gland, you're not going to know that if you take a laser that's been amplified, has enough energy behind it that can basically penetrate through skin and bone and then find the frequency of the pineal gland. It can lock onto it, and then they can control when and where your hormones will be able to get released, or rather when your hormones will be released. So they would literally, in a sense, I wouldn't say they are completely controlling you, but it's more along the lines of like they have a great influence over you. And if you're not conscious about the things that you do, say, or think, you will literally be just going along like with a program. Like it's literally a program, you know, because everything they do is all in radio frequencies, electromagnetic radiation. But when they're transmitting these thoughts and genes and everything to you, everything is basically dealing with that one specific gland. That's where the main connection is. Even with this helmet on, even with my helmet on, I could still feel the warm spot of where that main beam is at. The main signal connection is like, it comes at an angle. No matter where I turn my head at, it never changes. It's always at this angle, and it goes right through. It feels like it goes right through the right hemisphere of the brain, like it passes through the right hemisphere of the brain, and then it's like connected to the pineal gland. Now, going back to everything I was talking about before, they're basically like, oh, you know, you're not supposed to tell on nobody. You're not supposed to talk about technology. You're not even supposed to know about technology. You're supposed to just let it happen. And I'm like, I'm 30. I'm like, well, at least, well, now I'm just like, I'm 34 years old. I'm not trying to do this high school shit no more. I'm not, because like, I was sick and tired of always having to like kind of have to move a certain way because, you know, oh, you don't want to be over there because, you know, those people might think you got something. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I literally stopped dressing a certain way just so I would get less, you know, I won't be noticed as much, you know, by anyone who probably would be feeling, I guess I could say, froggy in a sense. And I never really had problems with people that's in the street, but then I never really would have thought that like people in the street be dealing with like dark energy, Luciferianism. I never really would have thought of it. I mean, I grew up listening to all the same music, watching the same movies, eating the same foods, going to the barbecues. I grew up in all that. But never did I really thought that the streets would be mixed into some like real dark stuff. I mean, some dark stuff. And I'm grateful for the fact that I went online and I found videos of people who were former gang members, people who were, hell, some people who work for mobs and whatnot, and they come out and they always tell you like you know, you don't want to be in that world. There's some very, you know, sick things that can happen in it, and it goes beyond just like the violence that you would normally see or hear about. Like there are spiritual things that go on out there, and they're conditioning people to live in the spirit of fear. They're conditioning people to basically be be nothing but dark energy. And right now they got a frequency going into my right testy, or rather the scrotum. No, I wouldn't even say the testy, because it feels more like something like the frequency. The frequency feels like as if someone took a pin and then they put it over the stove, and then they're like poking, you know. And it's crazy to think that a lot of people who probably don't know about how invasive this technology is, but that this technology is literally, it's like a voodoo doll without having to hold the voodoo doll. It's like a voodoo doll that works through any type of device that's connected to a cloud server. And when you understand that this technology that they're using, hell, even this phone I'm using, it's connected to your actual energy. You gotta wonder why they were so busy trying to give out free cell phones, why they're trying to push free public Wi-Fi everywhere. All this stuff was telling you they would, and we bought into it. And the crazy part is, all the movies and TV shows, from what I learned about secret societies, they can't just do things. They have to do it in a way where like you were informed about what's about to happen, but then you chose to just, like, I guess, go along with it, or maybe it just went over your head. But they showed you their hand, they showed you exactly what they were going to do. And there's so many films and TV shows out there where, like, now when you become targeted, right? And you go back and you watch some of these shows, you really can't believe you overlooked all of this stuff, but you didn't know what you was looking for. You was just thinking it's a movie, it's a TV show, it's nothing really to... No, they was telling us something. They was telling us everything that they were going... Hell, even the movie Outbreak can be compared to what happened in you know, with COVID. Nearly everything that we did, you could probably, like, literally see it played out exactly the way it played out in the movie Outbreak. You know, the movie They Live. Oh yeah, that movie. Even though that movie was made in 1988, that movie told a lot of detail about what's happening. But anyway, so they're basically telling me, like, oh, you know, it's sad because he's a respectable dude, but he don't realize this is not a movie. You know, the streets really looking for him. You know, and my thing is, I don't understand why there are billions of people that gave over their free will to such a system. This system is pure demonic. Like this is, I mean, what I'm telling people, it's not just the United States, because it's several countries all over the world that have dabbled and made these deals and all these dark room dealings and started working with all these tech companies and even the occults. They work together to build the system the way it is. You know, I mean, I love the fact that, like, I just always continue to remember that anytime I say the word God, sometimes I just feel pressure release in the head. Like, anytime I just throw that, and you just gotta mean it too, like, throw it out there, you feel that relief. You feel the relief for a moment, but then you realize the enemy is still using a device that's basically tracking your every move. I have my phone on airplane mode right now, but they're still using the electromagnetic radiation to create like an energy beam from it, and they're directing it to several parts of my body. Plus, since the phone is actually inside of my auric field, the phone basically works as like a transmitter for them. So whatever commands or signals that they send to the phone then relays that information to my body. Whatever the resonant frequency that they want to modulate. The phone is in the field. They can just use the phone. But not only that, I'm also realizing that even if you don't have your phone on you, I've actually experienced this with my girlfriend, that they can actually take the energy. They can take the energy from your body and actually use it as a weapon against someone else's body. Now, this weapon, this technology is so crazy. This technology is so crazy. They don't even need someone to have a weapon on them. They just need someone to stand right next to somebody. And then somewhere in the cloud or somewhere in some base, wherever they are, sitting behind a computer probably, they can take the energy created by one person's field, energy field, and create an energy beam, and attach it to some other part of somebody else's body. Like, for an example, they took the energy from my girlfriend's heart field, her heart energy field, and then they created a beam from it, and then they basically found the resonant frequency of my right kidney, and they just sent all that energy there. So the next thing you know, I start to feel my right kidney just heating up. And then whenever I use the qigong methods, of trying to increase the magnetism of my, or increase the magnetism, of my hand, or the magnetic properties of the hand. I forgot how to explain it, but anyway, I could pull some of the energy away from my body, but because the system is a tracking system, they always just find a way to reconnect. It always just reconnects. And that's the problem with, every time we upgraded from 2G to 3G to 4G to 5G, it basically made the system even better. And then I still haven't really finished. I haven't even made a dent yet in that book, Project Soul Catcher, because Robert Duncan, he actually goes into more detail about how he helped develop the system. That's kind of crazy to me that Robert Duncan helped develop the system that's actually controlling and manipulating billions of people right now. And then I'm thinking to myself, and he's still alive, and he wrote a book about it. He's still alive, and he wrote a book about it. Several books, actually. And then you have someone like Alana Freeland. Alana Freeland, she wrote a book about, I only heard about Under an Ionized Sky, where they basically increase the ionization of, I guess, the energy particles in the air, which probably helps with the wireless energy transfer from either person to person or device to device. Detox. Matter of fact, when I get home, I gotta do a detox myself. I gotta take the my normal once a week salt, radiation sea salt detox bath. Remember, it could be a pound or less of baking soda and a pound or less of sea salt. That's all you really need. Baking soda and sea salt. Scrub, soak in the water for 45 minutes. Rinse off with fresh water. Boom. Your grip, your cells, everything about your body will feel so much better. Only problem is once you get out that tub, they got the system locked on your body still. So
you're gonna build up that charge back again. Also, really go on this channel, Herbs Plus Beads Work. Look up Tony Pentalaresco's video on salt in the body. Look up his video on grounding yourself. And then also look at the video where he mentions, I think it was like protecting against nano dust or something like that. But yeah, watch his videos, and he goes and he does a really good job of keep explaining very scientific stuff in very basic terms, and then he shows you how to make these do-it-yourself like devices, and most of it is very cheap stuff, like copper sheet, copper wire, and magnets. That's it. Matter of fact, I have one. I'm still working on mine because I don't think I use enough magnets, but literally like copper wire. I use the insulated one. Copper wire, alligator clamps. And this is actually copper foil or copper sheet. But what I did was, you were supposed to take some repelling magnets. He said he uses 4 in the video, but I didn't think that because I'm using like some pretty good size neodymium magnets. I didn't think I needed 4, but I don't know. Maybe I should, use more. See if I could get the conduction a little bit more. And then he said on the other end of a clip, you should either attach it to another magnet or attach it to like a piece of metal. And then you take this part and make sure it connects and makes contact with your skin. Wherever you put it, it just has to make contact with your skin. Then it was, it's interesting because it amazes me how I'm pretty sure I thought I had a lot of associates and friends, until you get targeted, and when people realize you're getting targeted or you're not going along to get along. All of a sudden, everything that you experience with everybody, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that they can live, right? What's the world to gain if you lose your soul in the process? You got millionaires that's basically committing suicide. Millionaires. Right? Then you got people in the world who literally don't even have $5, but yet they somehow still have more joy and happiness in their lives than most people driving Bentleys and whatnot. I don't know, it's so strange. The world that we live in. And the fact that, some people are willing to do almost anything for money. It's like imagine someone who probably did some of the most vile things to a person gets rich. Like they end up winning, I don't know, they end up coming up on like a big break. They get a whole bunch of money, blah blah blah. And then they go through living their life, enjoying, spending the money and whatnot. But they'll never really think about the comeback or the get back. The get back is when you actually have to pay for everything that you've done to people over the time. Yeah, you might have money, you might have enough money now to probably hire a bunch of protection and things of that sort. But at the end, that get back is still coming. That get back is still coming. everybody can live forever, you know. With all the power and money that Queen Elizabeth had, she still had to do it too. You know? Now, even Jeff Bezos, with all the money he had, he still had some problems. Half of his money type problem. I don't know. Would I like to have more money? Yeah. Would I do almost anything for money? I don't think so. I don't think so. At least I don't think so. You know. And when you think about, like, you know, my girlfriend, we think about this over time, a couple of times. We're like, you know, if you're ever in like a kidnapper situation, you should never negotiate. Or if someone wants to like have a ransom for like anyone that you care about, whatever, they always say you probably shouldn't. And if you, because it's not promised that the person is actually going to not cause harm or any further harm. Because the moment you give them what they want, why would they want to go through the process of actually possibly exposing themselves again, and then like, you know, trying to give you back what you were looking for, when they could just leave. They could take what they took from you and the money that, you know, they basically they basically coerced out of you or extorted. But yeah, this technology, man. I don't know. I don't think people care about their souls anymore. I don't think people believe they have a soul anymore. It's probably a very, very small portion of the world that still does. It's probably very small. Like if God, it's almost like if we're actually going to live out Revelations, basically, it would be something along the line that, like, billions would die and only a few 100,000 would survive. And the few 100,000 that would survive are the ones who probably have the qualities that's necessary to actually rebuild humanity in the image that God expected humans to be in. You know, the handlers, they're like, he gotta stop talking. You know, they're trying everything in their power to try to destroy me, but I keep reminding myself I have a purpose. I have a purpose. You know, I don't see myself as a leader or an alpha or any of those things. I'm just somebody who just want to do the right thing. I mean, fighting against human trafficking should be the right thing, right? When you come across information about how billions of people are being trafficked without their knowledge, because we're so far removed from understanding our own spiritual energy. It's like, why would you want something artificial to regulate you when you yourself are not artificial?